Yes, we've continued to notice the softening of inflation figures. December last year was 11.44, and now we're seeing 11.31%. This is largely due to weak consumer spending. If you notice, too, food inflation softened as it increased at a slower pace. But overall, we expect it to continue in this direction. But at some point, there are some major events in H2 this year that could actually make inflation take a new turn. Number one being the minimum wage hike by the federal government. There's also expectation at some point that there might be issues around fuel subsidy removal. So these events, if they occur in H2, given that we're just still in an election year, and when inauguration takes place and new government is sworn in, activities could actually make inflation take a new turn. But for now, this is the trend we expect.
Now, the MPC for the month of March is just around the corner. What kind of comments do you imagine the MPC members are going to make as regards inflation? Because I know that obviously inflation has been a huge focus for the MPC. We've seen that in the last 2 years or so. But what do you think they're going to say this time?
Of course, they're going to be happy. They're going to continue to watch. At the last comment, the central bank's view is that inflation could go as high as 13% this year. Even on the upside, they don't expect it to go beyond 13%. And after that, they still expect further moderation. Part of how the central bank has been able to contribute effectively to this is by the stable rates you've seen at the FX market. Naira has been stable for most part of last year, and this has helped in keeping inflation well, not at target levels, but it's been moderating since the highest levels we saw at 1855, January 27. It's turned and it's largely been on the downside since then. And I'm sure the central bank will be happy with that. And as well, investors should also be happy with that if yields continue to trade above inflation levels. Okay,
one last point in that. Speaking about target levels, now, I know that the CBN is targeting a single digit, somewhere between 9 and 10%. At what point, or what could that catalyst be that could put us on the path to achieving that single digit inflation number?
Basically, it's still going to be tied to rate stability on the exchange rate, from the exchange rate perspective. Monetary policy, the central bank can only seek to keep rates stable to bring inflation down. But at the end of the day, you also have to look at base year effects and some other activities. But not everything is within control of the central bank. For instance, we had the floods last year, and so those kind of events could change the government's direction. But for now, the central bank can only stay its path and continue to do what it has been doing. If you look at it, it's kept its rate stable at 14% as at the MPC. It will not be expected that the central bank would adopt anything other than the current tightening approach for the time being, until it's quite sure that it will continue to monitor data outcome, and that would determine whatever decision they're going to take at future MPC meetings.
Okay, let's move on now to trading at the fixed income market this week. We saw quiet trading at the bond market, but things were a bit bullish at the treasuries market. So talk to us about that.
Yeah. Again, there's been lots of OMO auctions in the past, but we've seen that trend change. It's been dropping. I think last week we saw 4 auctions. This week we've only seen 1 auction yesterday, with central bank coming in with 350 billion on offer. Demand was still quite high at 450, but central bank was only able to meet 400 billion. In response to this, rates also inched lower. We saw rates at the short end dropping to from 11.9 to 11.84, and at the medium term, we saw it dropping from 13.44 to 13.2. It's quite noticeable that there's been no offer at the far end. This is because the government is also relatively unwilling to throw in to throw in offers at those far levels. But again, foreign investors are interested for bids at the one-year bucket. We'll continue to watch to see what central bank will do at future auctions.
Okay, Wale, thank you so much for talking to us today. We appreciate your time. Olawale Hamed, currency trader at UBA.